Yes, good morning, everyone. I would like to give the floor to Fawsy.
Thank you very much. So welcome. We're going to talk about the artificial intelligence FHIR and really focus on the Semantic Similarity Network. Now, the topic is quite interesting. The whole boom is there. So let's start. Fawsy Bendeck worked with Accenture 7 years ago, working specifically in integration architecture and in the healthcare domain. FHIR is definitely our daily work, right? So that's what we do. Many years ago, when I was young and still like 120 pounds, I used to do artificial intelligence in the semantic layer. 20 years waiting for this time. Now it's coming, right? So where industry is getting academic and together, we are trying to build the future. So I'm in front of you today here because I've been waiting for you guys for 20 years. I've been waiting people to wake up and say, look, semantic, so it's not just machine learning. Semantic is where the things goes and really get better. And we are there now. The last publication was 2019, just before the boom of the ChatGPT. It was amazing. At that time, still in the ideas. Okay, everybody knows different layers of structured data. Computers would like to have very structured and specific, unambiguous data. Humans would like to have flexible handwriting to everything. And we need to mix both, right? We move from the handwritten recipes, treatments, diagnostics, moving up to very specific and unambiguous coded information, is hopefully in FHIR format, and then the computer can take from there, right? What we have looking at the last 5 years is computer is going down. It's trying to do the interpretation from natural language processing, handwritten, OCR, all these things are getting together, getting closer to the humans. And that's where we are moving there. The effort to have unambiguous data is not new, right? We have been there. There are ontologists, linguistic people who are working on that several years ago. You know that there is a code for every disease, almost every disease, in the clinic area. The doctors, they can see a code, J40 something, they know what it means, right? But the computers, we like to have that. But what we have is, difficult to breathe and probably asthma. Okay, but that is not unambiguous. It could be asthma, could be many other options. But a code, J4512, that is unambiguous, asthma. That's where we want to go there. And FHIR, as you know, they offer a really nice framework where to put those codes to have a very specific understanding and interpretation. So that's where we want to move on. Now, going back to the business, having artificial intelligence, semantic, everything is very nice. But how we do the industry to put money on that? We need to solve real problems. Problems that they mean money, time, quality. One example that we actually hit that example some years ago. A company say, hey, we're going to have a patient platform, and we're going to want to integrate hospital in there. And we're going to make it for free. Hospital can connect to that platform, and they can exchange data with the patient and the devices, because that was a device company. And when they have this platform, they hit the wall to say, look, every time we want to integrate a new hospital, we need to send our IT guys to talk to the IT guy to the hospital to find out how this interface works, right? Even they are using FHIR. The format is okay. The content the content they need to align, they need to discuss. So what are we going to put in that field? Oh, it's a text field. Ooh, okay. We need to find how we do the interpretation, right? But that time, they found out that they have to send people out there. It's a week of work to have one integration. And if you have a consultant rate and everything, 10,000 euros per integration. And their goal was to integrate 1,000 hospitals in 3 years. And when we say, look, that's going to be like that, wait a minute, let's make the maths, right? Millions just to get this integrated, and it's going to be for free? No, it's not the business case that we wanted. And the problem was not the platform, was not the format, it was just the semantic interpretation between the two APIs. That's a real case. Solution was, of course, they say, look, hospital, if you want to join us for free, you have to make the API. And there were not 1,000 hospitals, there were hundreds only, right? They had to do some compromise. Scenario 2, labs. They offer an API for the hospitals or the clinics or the doctor to retrieve results. And then you have a new test for a new disease. And they are ready to do the test in the labs. But they need to make some changes in the interface to make that available for the hospital. And that is, again, a small project inside the lab. Just to make the right interpretation of the result, put it in the right fields, make it the available API, and deploy to production, right? And in that case, it was not the speed to create a new test. It was actually the speed from IT to make that available, which is getting in the way to make it faster. And that should not be the case, right? I mean, develop a new test is really hard. IT should not be in the way. It should be really enabled faster getting there. Okay. I mean, again, the high cost and everything in there. Alternative solution is, what if we have a very smart semantic layer, which is able to do the interpretation of the text information from the test documentation, understand what the test does, find the right places in the FHIR to put the data, and create the API. Right? So it should be straightforward, but it's not, right? Because the semantic interpretation of the text is really nice. You know, you can use ChatGPT, but it's not. I mean, there is no foolproof. Right? It might have sometimes results, it might not. You need something else. You need something more stronger to ensure the result. I think everyone knows what this semantic matching is. Right, so you have a concept, you have an ontologies, and what you want to find is a semantic unifier. It means the minimal concept where both of them find a path. And the semantic unifier is those unification concepts that could let you to know from there to there what is the meaning of that, right? And that's what we are looking for, a way to have. You can have that in a very small scale. That's really fine. The problem is, of course, if you put FHIR, only FHIR, that is the kind of thing that you get, right? I mean, the diagram was 2019, I think. I did a program getting to the web definition of FHIR, get all the concept and create the ontology. And I was surprised. I was expecting a couple of hundreds, maybe 1,000 concepts. But that goes in the 100,000s, right? Because the concept is really small, and because it's XML, they can expand almost infinitely in the sub-7, right? Then, when you have those semantic matching at that level of complexity, it's just impractical. You need something else. It's a normal ontology matching algorithm hit the wall. It might take some time. You can run it, and you will find some solution, but it's not in the practical time or the computational power that you need to do that. And if you find Snowman is huge compared to FHIR. And Leonix, and you have ICD-10. It's just huge. Right? You need something else to work. So that's the challenge. The proposal that we want to present and introduce you here is there is a specific semantic network specialized in finding similarity only. You know, the typical semantic network of ontologies, you try to represent everything, all the relationship, you know, the as is, part of, all the possible combination of meanings. But if you specialize your network to similarities, then you reduce complexity. But this similarity network has to be really well prepared, because similarity is not symmetric, right? It's not the same to say, you know, John is an employee, or John is a person. All employees are persons, but not all persons are employees. So it's not symmetric. You need to understand this asymmetry in the relationship of the similarities and represent it in the way that it can be calculated, right? Semantic Similarity Network is a specialized form with the propagation algorithm and calculation to reduce complexity, to find in a practical time and computational power the semantic unificator. That is the meaning, that is the way, right? And of course, if we use that, we can reduce and we can use in a practical way the meaning. But there is a catch, as always, right? The semantic similarity network, they need a lot of meanings of the concept. You know, synonyms, antonym, the whole semantic meaning of the word that you are looking for, of the concept that you're looking for. And until now, that was a block. We use WordNet. We use, you know, so many other vocabularies, but it was not enough. With the latest evolution of the LLM, now the things are changing. Now we have a very vast repository of meanings of words. And then, okay, it's the combination of both that we can leverage really the power of LLMs and SSM, the Semantic Similarity Network, on top of the semantic meanings of LLMs. And that is our idea, to exploit these combinations. You have the semantic, you can ask ChatGPT the synonyms of specific words, and they're gonna give it to you. But if you ask, give me the semantic unificator or semantic matching between two ontologies, it will work sometimes, but not always. And if you ask 3 times, 2 might be the same and the third will be different. And there will be uncertainty. You need to work on to ensure the results are repeatable and they are explainable, which is one of the topics that you're gonna find in the next 3 years a lot. You need to be able to explain how do you find those semantic matching. In LLM, there is no explanation. You just have a result. And there is a huge terabytes of points with probabilistic inside that there is no way to explain how do you get from there to there. Right? Explainable AI is gonna be the next topic, just to give you that. With the Semantic Similarity Network, it's easy to find the path that it was followed, minimum path, the shorter path, the lower path, and which is the semantic unificator. And then you can explain, how do you get from there? You remember this, right? If someone sees something like that, then, oh, you know, we go from that treatment to that disease because this is fungal infection. Well, that is an explanation of why do you get there. And if that is the result to use a dedicated network for that. Okay? So if you want to start with this approach, the first thing you need to do is call me. No, that's not true. You have to start doing something, some prototyping. This is suggestion, right? Use prototyping, select your best and the most stronger suit that you have for LLMs, and and try to top on that some semantic networks that you can explain. And I will suggest to use Semantic Similarity Network to reduce complexity and to be able to find quickly your results. That is what I bring it here. That's my contact. Really, call me. Don't worry. I'm going to be happy to contact you. And this is the information for today. We have open for questions. Yes?
Hi, I'm Kim Nolan from FHIR. I work in medical affairs. So we've kind of looked at something similar for a different use case, not for doing all the clinical data, because that's a little bit overwhelming. But being in medical affairs, I'm a reviewer many times, and if this came in front of me, I would want to understand, like, how did you scientifically prove? Was there a human in the loop? Like, how did you clinically ensure that the terms were together? So have you thought through that process and what that could look like? Because we're struggling with that right now.
Yeah. I think what we have done is when we provide feedback to the learning process, we make the annotations, who did the feedback and where it came from, and we have some kind of a list of participants in there. But in general, every time that you add a new knowledge to the network, we just keep reference where it came from. But that's part of the explainer AI.
So you're saying you do have a human in the loop that's checking it, and is that human clinical or are they technical?
It should be clinical, I have to say. Most of the time it's a technical guy, but it should be clinical. When we say here, test the prototype with different, let me see if I have a pointer here. There we go. And this is the key user testing. That's exactly what I mean for clinical people, right? Person who know that it's true what the system is giving. Not only giving a result, but clinical correctly results. But that's the we're being, yes. Yeah.
Hi, Vadim here. Thanks for your presentation. So how do I get started with SSN? How do I get my hands on one, or how do I build it?
So write me an email, I send you the prototype. I would be happy to do that. It's a prototype just at this moment. Okay. But the conceptual writing is not really complex. There is a couple of papers already in the loop. And you can find the way to do it. And programming language, you could be anything, right? So Python or anything. It's just the algorithm for propagation that you can actually improve and fine-tune it for your own purpose. Yeah. But send me an email, happy to send the prototype. Yes?
Yeah, I'm curious, for the semantic similarity network that you showed, what was the data input for that? And did that come from, what's the input for the semantic mapping?
There's a paper, there's are the concept, of course, not the file. And in these links, there is a combination of semantic similarity symmetry, which is extracting from.
Yeah, no, I'm asking the data input that allowed you to create the network. Because, I don't know if you used an actual FHIR data derived from an electronic health record system, or if you used some sort of resource that's FHIR's recommended kind of ontologies, because FHIR is very loose when it comes to ontologies. You can list as many different ontologies to code a concept as you want, and you can use text. So no one really uses the same thing. It's an issue.
I know. That's why it's so complex to make the APIs for. Yeah, so at this moment we use the general FHIR or the organization FHIR website. I pick it up from there, I create the whole ontology, and create the hierarchies in there. And this is a very general approach, right? And we are trying to connect, at this moment, we are trying to connect to SNOMED, Loic, and ICD-10. But this is just the network. So creating this thing with links all together, which is a huge work. After that is done, that's going to be the baseline. Then you put your own domain-specific information for your own systems, and then you're going to try to do the next work. As I say, this is prototyping at this moment. Okay?
So,
yes.
I think you may have answered in the last part of the question. I'm just curious, like when you said GPT can be used to figure out the similarities, but it does not cover everything. I'm just curious, like, can you use a RAG to augment whatever the gaps that are there? Because it sounds like you cannot have a generic semantic network that covers everything because of the same problems that she was mentioning.
Yeah.
Is RAG a solution for filling in the gaps?
Probably, yeah. I think so. Yeah. And what we are trying to do right now is just working with the LLM, with ChatGPT, to generate all this semantic knowledge about the specific concept, right? Patient, you know, they have a 10 times different way to say patient, different synonyms and representation. And that was the block 20 years ago. Well, trying to get all this common sense knowledge, it was hard. But now it's there. They did the job. They create terabytes of information about specific concept and network. Now we want to use it and to get all the baseline of the semantic network. And in top, we put it in the network in there.
Well, looking at the clock, we have run a bit over, so I would like to thank you very much. If there are any more questions, please come and talk to Fawsy.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and also for
Thank
your
you.
comments.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Next one up is